Hello friends, how are you? This is Dr. Sri Nagi, Ayurveda and Medicine Doctor and also Isha Hatha Yoga teacher. Many times people feel pain in the shoulder, but when they go for radiographic imaging or when they take X-ray, they don't find any kind of abnormality into it. And when they go for radiologist says like your shoulder is absolutely fine. But still people are feeling pain in this shoulder, and sometimes this pain is extremely cruciating, and it doesn't even get relieved even by taking painkillers. In some cases this happens like you are not able to sleep properly on the shoulder which has this cruciating pain. So today in this video we are going to figure out how Ayurveda can help you with frozen shoulder. It would be interesting for you to know in Ayurveda frozen shoulder is described as avvahuka. So it's a very Sanskrit terminology for frozen shoulder, or you can also understand it as this frozen shoulder symptoms are very much related to the disease named avvahuka that has been mentioned in Ayurveda. So this frozen shoulder is a disease of shoulder joint and adjoining tissues. And according to Ayurveda, this frozen shoulder happened because of Vata imbalance. So it has been described under Vata Vyadhis. Means it has been described under those diseases which are caused by imbalance of Vata dosh. Usually we never paid attention to our shoulder joint, but when it starts restricting your movements for some reasons, like we are not able to rotate it properly either in the forward direction or in the backward direction, then we start feeling some difficulty, and then we start figuring out why this pain happened. Sometimes this also pain got radiated to your arm, but we just take it lightly, and eventually if we don't pay attention to it, it will grow and ultimately it leads to frozen shoulder, which is so cruciating pain, like people feel extreme pain in that. And many times it's been seen that this pain not even gets subsides by taking painkillers, because you can take painkillers for a specific period of time, and too much painkillers if you are taking like for a month, for 2 months, then definitely they are not so good for body, because they are harmful for the body. Extreme chemicals if you are taking, they are not so good for the body because they are going to affect your liver, they are going to affect your kidney. So Ayurveda provides you the natural ways and methods with which you can overcome the pain and this disease of frozen shoulder. I'm not against painkillers, like when it is needed you should have taken painkillers, because nobody should stay in pain. But if you're using it regularly, like for a month, 2 months, daily you are eating painkiller, so I think that is not a great idea. Rather we should focus, we should understand this frozen shoulder disease and try to do various methods and ways that are being described in our ancient sciences to make our health better, so that we should not be dependent on these painkillers so much. So if you are also suffering from this frozen shoulder, please don't worry, there are ways and methods to overcome it. If we consider the modern perspective, what is the perspective of frozen shoulders? So frozen shoulders is considered as the inflammation of synovial joint. You know, there is a synovial membrane in the shoulder. So in modern aspect, if you go, there is some kind of inflammation in this synovial membrane which cause pain in the shoulder joint. And many times it also been seen like there is fibrosis of the shoulder joint which is termed as frozen shoulder. But what is the exact etiology of this frozen shoulder in allopathy or modern medicine, that's been not known. Nobody can say like why this frozen shoulder happened. But in ancient Ayurveda there has been given a reason why this frozen shoulder happened, because according to Ayurveda they say it happens because of excess of Vata. When your Vata dosh got imbalanced, then excess of Vata got lodged in your shoulder area. And in this disease what happens, whenever there is imbalance of Vata dosha, means your Vata dosha got aggravated for some reasons, then this Vata dosha got accumulated in your shoulder joint, and in shoulder joint it caused subsequently the constriction of blood supply and the tissue, which restricts the movement of the shoulder joint and ultimately leads to avvahuka, means restricted movement of your joint. Acharya Shushrut, who was one of the pioneer in the surgery, who is also known as the father of surgery in Indian medicine, he explains because when there is excessive vata in your shoulder region, that causes excessive dryness around your ligaments that are present in the shoulder, around the tendons which are present in the shoulder to support your shoulder joint, and connective tissue which makes your shoulder joint, leading to the stiffness and constriction of the blood vessels, ultimately leads to frozen shoulder. In Ayurveda, this shoulder joint is also considered as marma. Marma is the vital point which is very essential for your body or your day-to-day work. So, if sometimes some kind of injury also happens in this marma, as the time passes, that causes the stiffness of your shoulder joint and ultimately leads to frozen shoulder. In addition to that, there is another reason for which Ayurveda considers maybe it will lead to frozen shoulder. If you are not taking wholesome diet, if you are taking diet which is not good for your body, for example, if you are eating that kind of food which is canned and which is not freshly prepared for a long time, then it will disturb your vata dosh. Or if you are eating very late at night, for example, you are eating at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, then that also disturbs your vata dosh. If you are keeping yourself awake by 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock during the night, then that also disturbs your vata dosh. So, whenever these reasons which disturbs your vata dosh come into play, that can also be the reason of your frozen shoulder. That's why in Ayurveda a lot of importance has been given that you take your diet on time, you try to cook fresh meals and try to eat it within 3 hours of cooking.